Live from Latrobe Motorsports Studios, this is Ride Along with Howie, from the fast half-mile track at Latrobe Speedway, where it's grassroots racing at its finest. Here's Howie.
Race fans, who's ready for another edition of Ride Along with Howie, sponsored by Latrobe Speedway and Joe's Body Shop and Towing out of Fairbanks, Pennsylvania. Hey, today we got a little theme going. It's going to be Family Day here with Ride Along. And coming up first, we got the father and son team of the Hollises. Father John, who's turning another lap older today, and his son Shawn. Hey, thanks for going for a ride, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Not a problem. Now, one thing with you guys, it's more than just you and Shawn. You got Dakota Hickson, Jimmy Hickson. You guys are all related. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about the dynamics of the team?
Where do you start? We got, me, Shawn, Jimmy, Dakota, my daughter. We got a little bit of everybody involved in the family. We all work together. We all do everything together.
You guys all race out of one shop, and
we
I'm sorry, go ahead. You guys all race out of one shop, so
What's that?
you can be working on the
go ahead.
81 one night, the 18 another night, 96, 69. Doesn't matter. You guys just work on all the cars.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes 3 or 4 at a time.
Now, how are you guys related to the Hicksons?
My father-in-law, my brother-in-law. Oh, yeah, 2 brother-in-laws.
So it's all through marriage.
Yeah.
Now, they always say the family that races together will stay together. You guys had any maybe racetrack drama that carried over into the family, Thanksgiving dinner?
You're breaking up, Howie.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
They always say the family that races together will stay together. It's a great bonding experience. But have you guys noticed that maybe something happened on the track and then it just carried over into the family life? Or what happens at the track stays there, come Sunday morning, it doesn't matter who car needs fixed, you guys are all working on them.
Yep, it's never mattered.
Now, John, you've picked up some wins before down at Latrobe, and I know Dakota won at Roaring Knob last year. And you guys have any other wins?
It froze again.
Do you guys have any other wins? I know you picked up a couple before at Latrobe. Dakota picked up a win, I think, last year up at Roaring Knob. How successful have you guys been racing as the family?
I think we're successful. I mean, we bring them home in one piece. Yeah, that's all you can ask for. We race against a lot of fast cars. You can't go out and expect to win every week. No. I think we're doing pretty good for what we got.
I think you guys do great. But I got to ask you this. Last year, the person sitting to your right, your son, decided he was going to take a turn around Latrobe in, I believe, your backup car, right?
Yeah.
And what's that like? I know you go to the track, and obviously you want to do the best you can, but you're also a father, and you want your son to do the best he can. Is it harder having you two both race in the same division, or you guys just deal with it?
Absolutely. It's very scary. My nerves were a complete wreck the first couple of times he was out there. He actually learned how to drive a car on Latrobe Speedway. He was never behind the wheel of any car till his first night out there. You want to talk about scared? I was scared.
You just basically threw him to the wolves, and it just gives you, must say you have enough confidence in A, your son, B, your equipment, and C, all the other drivers to, not put Shawn in a bad position and for Shawn not to put himself or anybody else in a bad position?
It was real hard. Trust me, it was hard.
Now, one thing I like about you and your family, you told Shawn, hey, we're going to help you race, but you need to, A, keep your grades up, and B, you got to do school activities. And
Yep.
Shawn actually, 145-pound, he's a wrestler, and he qualified for what, states this year at 14?
Yep. And he had to wrestle up 10 pounds.
Shawn, what's it like, the two sports that you do, wrestling and car racing? Both are team sports, but when you go to do your part, the team's gone. It's on you. Were you able to transfer anything over from the mat to the race car, and from the race car to the mat?
Well, I know you got to help each other out a lot in both sports, so that was kind of similar.
But I mean, like, you're used to not having those playing football, which I know you played before. At the end of the play, I'll go back to the huddle and, hey, good job, or, you'll get it next time. When you're on that mat and when you're in that car, it's just you. And mentally, it's going to make you tougher and stronger as mentally and physically. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely.
What do you like better, the racing or the wrestling?
Definitely the racing.
You were almost born into this. I can remember your dad when you were just a little baby, and he said, here's the next generation. Might take him a little bit to get here, but here you are, 14, racing a car. And, it just shows your family's very giving. I mean, most parents, they want their kid to learn how to drive on the street before they get into a race car. And here's your dad, go ahead, Shawn, let's go play with this. We know it's a well-built car, and, this is the only way you're going to learn how to race is by racing.
Yeah.
I see you got your dad's interview skills down to a pat, too. Like I said, I always enjoy one thing with you guys. You come as a family, and it doesn't matter. I mean, as long as nobody gets hurt, you could blow a motor, you could win a feature, but you guys are down there bonding, and it's just great to see how racing has brought the whole family, multiple sides together.
It ain't just family either. We help anybody. Anybody that comes to us that needs help, we'll help anybody with anything. We always have, we always will.
And you guys aren't, I'm not being rude, one of the biggest sponsor teams, but I know, like, if you have anything and somebody needs it, you guys are offering it 1, 2, 3, just to keep everybody racing. And it just shows the character of you guys. And what was it, Shawn or John, 2 years ago, you built this new car? The new Monte Carlo?
Yeah.
Now, you've had...
I think it was 3 years ago.
3? Okay. Yeah, because it was orange for, what, 2 years? 1 year?
It was orange for a year, then the stock body last year, and I put this other body on this year.
How hard is it to sit there and try to build a car? I mean, that's something I've never done. And, there's no, it's not like you buy a puzzle and, okay, slide this here and slide that there. And, you got to know where to place the cage. And you guys been racing a long time. But is it ever easier? I mean, I know you've had multiple style of cars. I remember you had, the old Camaro at one point?
Yeah.
And you had...
that one was actually bought. I didn't build that one.
Okay. And then you had the metric Monte Carlos, and now you have this newer car, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Were you able to learn anything from the metric? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I still learn every day. Every time I turn a wrench on it, I learn something new.
Would you recommend building your own car, or for somebody who wants to get into racing, would you recommend buying a car?
honestly, buying a car. If you're just getting into it, I'd buy a roller and start from there. There's a lot involved in building one.
But also, there's a lot of pride because it's something that you did. And when you built that car, was
Yes.
Shawn out there helping you, or just you and your welder and going at it?
It's just us. Everything that gets done on these cars all comes out of this garage. And I mean everything. The only thing we send out is like machine work.
Now, who all races out of that shop? Obviously, you and Shawn, Dakota. Is Jimmy out of that shop too?
Usually, yeah. Every now and then he takes it home, but it's usually here. There's me, Dakota, Mike, my daughter, Shawn. Am I missing anyone? Oh yeah, Andrew. We got what 5, 6 cars out of here. 7 cars out of here.
I'm sure that's one hell of a garage you guys have up there.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Now, we know who all drives, but who's helping you guys out in the shop, turning the wrenches and, trying to keep everybody in order?
You're breaking up real bad again, bud.
Who's out there, like, basically, do you guys have a crew chief that comes and tells you guys, what to do to the cars, or everybody's on their own?
I can't hear a word you're saying.
How about now?
Ask who's down here helping.
Okay.
Yep,
Do you guys have a crew chief, or is it
I can
okay?
hear you.
Do you guys have a crew chief out there? Or
Yep, old Jim Hickson.
old Jim Hickson.
Chief.
What do they call him?
He don't tell us much, but he's always here.
The daddy of the pure stocks, right?
Yep, pure stock daddy.
Pure stock daddy. Sorry. Now, you mentioned your daughter races. What's it like when both two of your kids are out there? Probably makes you nervous, right?
She hasn't been out yet, thankfully. She's probably going to be out there next week.
Okay. And who?
I don't even want to go. I'm just going to stay home that day.
Come on, even if you're not going to race, you're going to be there as a dad just to support your kids, right?
Definitely, always.
And your daughter, she's the same thing. You guys told her, listen, you can race, but A, the grades got to be there, and B, you got to do school activity. And what was her school activity?
It's actually my other daughter that's going to be racing, but yeah, even Taryn, she does a couple enduros here and there. She plays softball, she plays volleyball, wrestles. She does a little bit of everything. Yeah, she's the same way. She don't do something in school, she ain't doing this.
And you know what? You guys got to be applauded for that, because a lot of parents give in and let their kids basically do whatever. And, that's the one good thing about racing. It's keeping them in line. Not saying that they would get out of line, but,
Yeah, every now and then.
Shawn, what do you enjoy most? The time in the shop or the track time?
I enjoy all the memories we make, like in the garage, at the track, all that together as a family.
Now, before you started racing last year, did your dad make you basically work on the car, or
Yeah, I was his crew chief before I had my own car.
Now, going from crew chief to driver, is it as easy as you would yell at him, what are you doing?
No, definitely not. There's a lot to go on with that.
Now, who's your crew chief? Mom?
No, we don't really have one. My Pat, like we said, but he's only so much help. And
Hey, guys, I wish you all the best. And why don't we go ahead and thank everybody who helps make your racing possible and include those sponsors.
I need my cheat sheet. First of all, my wife, she puts up with a lot with all this. Here, you can do that part.
not his, though. It's yours.
It's ours. Go ahead.
Oh, we go. Later.
We got Waltz Off-Road, Diploma Flooring, Evansdale Scrap, Crivelli Collision, Black Forest Tattoo, Frank Caper Funeral Home, Hodges Transmission, Vinyl Destination, Palmer Sports Bar, and Wangell Tire in Scottsdale.
Race fans, keep your eyes on the Hollis family. Dad and John in the 81, son Shawn in the 18. They're going to be going up to the front this year, and trust me, when Hollywood gets that win again, it's going to be one hell of a party, right, Hollywood?
I hope.
Hey guys, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you guys going for a ride.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys. Race fans, right now we're going to go with the ride with a gentleman who picked up a second career feature win in the Pure Stocks this past Saturday night. Driver, the DC Transit, DC Motorsports, number 969. This is Stephen Hazlett. Stephen, welcome to Ride Along.
Thank you, Howie.
Hey, man, congratulations. That car was just on a rail. And I got to tell you, the improvement that I've seen from where you were 1 year ago to today, amazing. You and that team just are on one plane.
Yeah, a lot. It has to do a lot with the car, but I mean, obviously, maybe behind the wheel it makes a big difference too. But there's only one tip that I've actually learned from, and that was if you're going into the turn, don't set the car until you're like, oh crap, and then that's when you set the car, and it's helped out a lot actually.
You know, I used to tease you, and it seemed like every time, a lot of coincidence, every time I'd mention, hey, here comes Hazlett up in the third, and then you would spin out.
Yeah.
Last year when you won that race, I was afraid to mention your name, and people are like, you know who that is? And I'm like, yeah, it's just an inside joke, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
I was pretty bad at that. My dad would come up from the pits to watch, and the one time he didn't, because every time he came up from the pits I'd spin out, but after the win last year he said he's not running like that again. So
how big was it to finally get that weight off your shoulder?
Oh man, it was incredible. We've been fighting for it, and the sponsors, we can't thank them enough for everything that they put out for us. They pretty much let us get what we want, and it's helped out a lot. We just getting the victory last year was incredible, especially since it was on 9/11, and being a veteran, that just made it 10 times better. And then this past weekend was Memorial Day, so that made it even better. So,
well, thank you for your service for our country. And one thing with you, you're very emotional when it comes to these wins, and
yeah,
that is awesome to see. It's so genuine, and I mean, you know, here you
yeah,
are.
I can't help it. I've always been an emotional person.
But that's awesome, and I mean, you know, it's the other great part about your racing and DC Motorsports is the fact you guys are all one big family, and I don't mean that like as a racing family. I mean, you guys are all related.
Yeah, we are.
And the funny part is, it's not like you wanted to do this your whole life. What was it, 4 or 5 years ago? You guys went to Jennerstown, and you were sitting there, and you and Jacob convinced what, your aunt and your parents?
Yeah. Well, we went to Jennerstown, and we all had a little bit to drink, and then my mom, she suggested sponsoring someone to my aunt at Jennerstown, and then my aunt was just like, why don't we just race? And I was like, I'll be a driver. And I didn't think it was serious, but the next day they were looking at cars, and they're literally within a week we bought mine from a guy up north, and then not even a week after that, Jake bought his from a guy in Pittsburgh and been downhill from there. Well, uphill, depending on how you look at it.
But I mean, it's crazy all the racing careers I got started with a beer.
Yeah, I believe that.
Steven, what do you enjoy most about the racing? Being there with your family or getting to
Just
go out and compete?
everyone being there to support me, man. Like, I don't do it for me. I do it for the fans and my family that come cheer us on, because obviously everybody hates losing, but I went 3 years without a win, and then I got one, and I've just been itching for another one. And first race that I got to run this year, not knowing what the car could do, it managed to hold up and get me in victory lane again. So,
and that's just one thing that, you built a brand new car over the winter and didn't get a chance to test it. Bring it out, second race of the year for your division. And the first time you were on the track and it was hot laps. And what was
yeah,
it like mentally?
everyone from what I heard asked why I was running it so hard in the hot laps. And then a couple, like my family was like, he didn't get to practice. He didn't get to run it. This is the first time out there. So he's seeing what the car can do. And in those hot laps, I knew what it could do. I backed off a little bit because I was getting real close to the one guy, but I learned what it could do, and I put it in the corners.
You missed opening night because you were a little bit late getting parts or whatever and didn't have the car completed.
I was actually on vacation in Florida.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The car was ready. I wasn't.
Well, you had to get your pre-race Florida trip out of the way. I understand that. But what was it like just getting into that brand new car? I mean, you had confidence in that old car because you won in it. And people always say, what's it like when you get a new car? And I always tell them it's like dating. You got to go through that filling out period. And, not everybody likes candy and not every woman likes flowers. And
yeah,
it seems like you two got off on the right foot right away.
Yeah, I mean, the reason we got pretty much a brand new car is because the old chassis was it wasn't safe. Like, if I were to somehow wreck real bad, it probably wouldn't have held up too well. So we spent some money and got it built right, and the chassis, the whole roll cage is brand new. The brand new chassis from Roostet, and they did an amazing job. And then we got our shocks and everything from MS Shock Therapy. And our power plant guy, he knows what he's doing, and he loves hearing the stories he loved the stories from last year, and he absolutely loved that I won my first race out there this year. Sorry if it's a little loud.
No, that's all right. I see you're out there supporting your cousin Jake, who drives the other car for DC Motorsports, and you guys are practicing that car tonight.
But yeah, I had no idea what I was getting into whenever I first got in it, but it was an instant feel for it. Like, I knew that it was going to hold up well. Turns 1 and 2, it was amazing. 3 and 4, it kept pushing me up a little bit to the high side, but every time it reached the high side, it gripped and it ripped. So,
what made you guys decide on your number 969? It seems like
that is actually my aunt's birth year and day, birth month, day, and year.
Okay.
No, I didn't get to choose my number, or else it'd be 12.
What's the significance of the 12?
It's just it was just a number that I've always had. Like, I don't know, 12 is just my number. It was my football number in high school. It was my senior year of high school, and everything pretty much made 12 my favorite number.
Oh, that's cool. Now, what's this rest of the year hold for you? Are you going to be there every week trying to possibly
Yeah,
get that?
I'm gonna try to catch back up on the points, but that's just hoping that everything works out the way we want it to. And we were fighting for points, but after missing the first race, it's probably going to be a little difficult unless I can bring it back on the double points nights and get some points back in it.
I'll tell you what, I've enjoyed watching your career progress up from being co-track rookie of the year with your cousin Jacob and the first year racing for DC Motorsports. And I'm telling you, between you, Jacob, and that team, I think the sky's the limit for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we initially, our first thought was 5 years, but who knows? We're on our 4th year right now, and I only got my 2nd victory, so probably going to push it a little harder than 5 years. But
hey, as long as you're having fun, might as well do it, right?
oh yeah, and like I said, it brings everybody together, and having them. You saw everybody that was down in the pits or down on the track whenever I was on victory lane. You couldn't even see the car, so there's a lot of supporters.
Let's go ahead and mention them. Who all makes up DC Racing?
Well, obviously you got my dad, the crew chief. My Aunt Lori, she's the owner. Her husband, my Uncle Ray, he helps out a lot for Jake. Me and my dad do a lot of stuff to my car at the house. And then, I mean, usually everyone just comes by on the weekends to help in the pits. You got my brother Dan, he was out there this past weekend. He saw the reason why I was leaking oil. Like, I looked right past it. He saw that my fuel pump was broken 2 pieces, and then we managed to get a backup from monoparts, which honestly surprised me a little bit, but we thanked them, and they know if they need anything, we'd help them out too. So, but a couple of our buddies, they're part of the pit crew if they can make it. My Uncle Bill, he's been DJing a lot, so he hasn't really been able to make it much. But I mean, honestly, it's just a small team. Like, but everyone else is pretty much in the stands cheering us on, helping share what we do, and they're always recording on Facebook Live. They're always sharing our posts. Sometimes they post before I do, even get the chance. So,
yep, the Hazaholics were going crazy Saturday night. That's for sure.
yeah, they love that you call them that.
Well, race fans, we're going to let Steven get back to helping out his cousin, and we appreciate your time, Steven. Thank you for going for a ride, and good luck the rest of the year.
Thank you, Howie. Have a good one.
All right, same to you, buddy.
See ya.
Race fans, right now we're going to get a word with one of the youngest drivers at the Latrobe Speedway. We're going to talk to 15-year-old Kaitlynn Spangler. Kaitlynn, thank you for going for a ride.
Yeah, anytime.
Now you're entering your 2nd season of racing. How did you get involved with racing? And especially being a female, what made you decide to go to the races?
One of my dad's friends, David Needham, he raced with his dad, and I always thought it was like cool, and I was like, well, since I'm so young, I was like, this would be pretty cool to try and do. So me and my dad both got into it.
Your dad or you, did you guys have any idea you would end up racing here in the 2022 season against each other? Or it just seemed like a good idea and you figured mom would nix it, but she was okay with it?
I first built a car, like, just for me, like, because that's what our plan was. And then Dad raced it once, and he's like, well, I want to do this. So then last year, we both did it together. And then this year, we were like, well, we want to become competitive with each other. So we built bigger cars, and now we're a lot more competitive.
Now they always say, no matter what, you got to be safe in what you're doing. And your first race car was not a sports car, not even a sedan. You were out there in a station wagon, the
Yeah.
PT Cruiser.
Yeah, that was not a good choice. But the car was free, and then we were like, well, it's just going to be for a couple races. So.
And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that because, it's always different when you're out there. And you could have put all the time in building the car, got out there and said, you know what, this ain't for me. And at least then you didn't have a lot of money tied up. But you used that PT Cruiser last year, and we saw steady improvement every week. And then this year, you and your dad each built a new car. And you went with the Chevrolet, and your dad's in a Pontiac.
Yeah.
And how do you like the Cavalier compared to the PT Cruiser?
I like the Cavalier better because I feel like I blend in more, and because in the PT Cruiser I felt like top heavy, kind of was. So I feel like I have like a lot more control of the car because I have a lot more weight down low in the car rather than like at the top.
See, you're learning about this racing already. And you started racing, you were in middle school. So
Yeah.
what's it like whenever, you got all the cool boys and they're on their iRacing and they're talking about, oh, yeah, I raced at Darlington. And you're like, really? You did it on a computer? I drove a car last Saturday night at Latrobe Speedway.
Yeah.
And, you never drove anything. You didn't race go-karts before, did you?
No.
So what was it like the first time you went out there on the track?
The first time there, my dad and my uncle, his advice was just go out there and the brakes on the left and the gas is on the right. Just don't hit anybody. That's all they told me.
And you're like, okay, this is going to be easy. And then you're out there and they're going, woo, 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 woo. And
Yeah.
now I know a lot of the drivers, the senior drivers, we'll call them, the older drivers, they go around and they try to help the younger drivers like you. Anybody come up and offer you help or,
Yeah, a lot of the Ford drivers, they help me out a lot, especially like the Jones brothers and Tiffany and Grubbs. Like they help me out a lot with that stuff.
what's it like? I mean, you got Tiffany, she's a female racer, and you, and, all these other guys. And I mean, like I said, we can see every week you're getting better. And one thing, you're not playing the girl card. You're not out there in a big pink or purple race car. You're racing to fit in and have fun. And is you know is it satisfying your competitive edge? I know you used to be a dancer and played softball, and you're into sports and athletic events. How's the racing compared to that?
I honestly like racing better than I did like dancing or softball because it's more like self-based. Whatever you do in the car, it's like your fault, or you're more like excited about what happens because it's all based off what you do.
What's it like in the shop? Now you and your dad both have race cars. Um, is the focus on you? Focus on him? You guys each work on each other's cars, or
Um, we don't. We keep our cars at Tire in Ligonier. So I mean, whenever his closes, it's like, look, whenever I rolled my car, it was fix that, get that done, then do Dad's, because it's pretty much whoever has the bigger damage on their car, get that done first, and then get the little things done. So.
is it weird the fact that the first time you're ever behind the wheel of a car was a race car?
People might think it weird, but since I'm like in the racing environment, I don't really think it's as weird as others would.
Did you picture this 2 years ago that you would be racing?
No, honestly, I didn't. I kind of figured I'd just be continuing my dance. We just went to a racetrack, and I was like, I want to do that. So.
I guess we're lucky you decided to come to Latrobe and not go to see the ballet or something, or we might have lost you.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy most about the race and the time you're spending with your dad? The competitiveness?
I mean, when I'm out in the track, it's more competitive other than anything. But whenever when Dad would place good or I'll place good, it's more like a kind of like a family thing, really. More like it's not like, oh, I beat you. It's more like, oh, we both did really good.
So there's no comparing. Okay, you might have drove better than my dad, but I got 7th and you were 9th. No,
Yeah.
rubbing it in all week or.
No, not really. I mean, whenever David used to race, whenever he had one of the faster cars out of both of us, so whenever he wouldn't finish a heat, I would rub in his face oh, I beat you. But it was just because he'd been doing it for years.
I saw David's this past Saturday, and
Yeah.
I said, "What's going on?" And he's like, I came here," and I'm like, "Yeah, you'll be here in a week or two with your car." So I haven't touched it since last year. I'm like, one thing about racing, it's more addicting than anything you'll ever experience in your life
Yeah.
because it's something you feel like you could always get ahead on it. If I win tonight, if I put 2 tires on and I win, I'm going to be up. But if you don't win, then you get down. And then, like I said, people when it comes to racing, when you're done, you just got to walk away. You can't even go watch because you'll get that competitive edge going again.
Yeah.
Do you and your dad watch racing on, are you NASCAR fans or anything?
We're not really NASCAR fans, but normally on YouTube we're search for 4-cylinder videos from other tracks.
Now, when we announced the stock class this year, you decided you were going to stay up with the modifieds. What made you decide to stay up there versus, I don't want to say go down, but go into the entry level class? And that's not meant to be insulting. It's not like, you had some races under you, but it's not like, oh, I've been racing for 10 years. You know what I mean? It was, you might have 10 races under you.
Yeah. Whenever we first bought my car, it had a built motor, and then it was just just so much to go into the stock class, and I'm already, by the time I get to there, I'm probably gonna be bored in it for after a while. So
Yeah.
unmodified.
Whose car did you buy?
We ended up Dave Perel's car.
Okay.
Yeah, because we were cause his car was fast. And we were well, it's not a huge step, but it's a step up from the PT. So
What did you do with the PT?
we ended up selling it, but then the people we sold it to, they're selling it again because they lost interest in it. So
You might want to buy it back. A lot of people always wish they would have had their first race car,
yeah.
Now, do you have any brothers or sisters? Anybody else in the family showing interest in racing?
I have a sister, but she doesn't. I mean, she comes and support me with my mom and her sister and her boyfriend, but she doesn't show interest in it. I mean, I told her a couple of times I was you can take it out after the races. She's like, no, I won't do it. I won't do it.
Hey, you know what? It's not for everybody, but Kaitlynn, I got to tell you, I just been keeping an eye on you from when you started last year to where you are now. Night and day difference, and you should be very proud of yourself. And I know we take a lot of pride in the progress you've been making at Latrobe Speedway. Why don't you go ahead right now and thank everybody, whether it be sponsors or pit crew or family that supports your racing.
I want to thank my mom, my dad, my sister, David and James, who helps us out at the garage, my Uncle Tom, who owns Tiny Tire and Auto Service, Kingston Garage, Ridge Excavating, Martin's Machine, Country Farms Landscaping, and then all the racers and fans that support me at the track.
Now, I know we want to try to get you to come up one night, help out with the kids club. And what are your big plans for the summer?
I don't really know, like have a huge plan. I mean, getting really used to my car is just like a big improvement for me, really. So.
Well, Kaitlynn, I look forward to hopefully getting to see you win a feature this year. And keep it up. You know what? You're going to be one of our success stories from Latrobe, coming from a fan in the stands to a feature winner on the front stretch. So good luck, and we appreciate your time. And we'll see you this Saturday at the races.
All right. See you then.
All right. Thank you, Kaitlynn.
Thank you.